We catch up with Locke before he was paralyzed and wearing a rather awkward-looking toupee. He shows off a game of mousetrap, which I could never get into as a kid because I could never get that damn boot to kick the bucket. Did anyone else have this problem, or was my set defective? I'm just curious.
Could you tell me where the footballs are?
Yeah. Aisle 8 for regulation, aisle 15 for nerf.
See what I meant about the numbers showing up in completely nonsensical ways? Anyway, Locke takes an interest in this woman for no apparent reason and gets hit by a car chasing after her. It's been done. No point to that except making us think we just saw him become crippled, but no, he gets right back up.
Please.
Why are you following him?
I think you've got it backwards there. Anyway, this is Amelia, played by Swoozie Kurtz, and I just can't bring myself to dislike anyone who was on Pushing Daisies. Curse you forever, ABC, for canceling that genuinely fresh and inventive show and leaving this one on. She's Locke's mother and claims he was an immaculate conception. I knew it, Locke is Darth Vader. Locke has yet to go completely off his nut, so he hires a detective who confirms his mother is crazy and he does have a father named Anthony Cooper. Cooper is filthy rich and explains that Amelia told him she was going to abort her baby before putting Locke up for adoption. They arrange a hunting trip and Locke arrives early and walks in on Cooper getting kidney dialysis. The hunting trip gives us another possibility of how Locke was paralyzed, but no, he just offers to give Cooper his kidney, believing that this was all destined to happen. But when he wakes up, Cooper is already back home and Amelia explains that the whole thing was a con. Hey, maybe a complication from the surgery left him paralyzed. And again, no, because he just drives over to Cooper's house where he isn't let in. Chalk up another Joss Whedon special. Locke and Boone have resorted to building a trebuchet, which Locke refuses to explain to Boone regarding how it differs from a catapult. I know people hate answering questions on this show, but I think even Ben Linus himself would find that a bit petty.
Everybody's got a story. My story would bore you.
What, you mean the part where you may or may not have killed a cop, or the part where your father pushed you out a window? Oh, spoiler alert. The plan fails miserably, which kind of breaks Locke's brain. He even loses the feeling in one of his legs again. Yeah, I think that's taking the test a little far. And by the way, we'll never learn why this happens.
Which one?
That one.
You're sure? Because this is the one I've been using and nothing's happening.
Look, it's very simple. Just check if it has 3 leaves, and if it doesn't, you can wipe your ass with it. Actually, Sawyer's headaches have continued from the last episode, and Jack refuses to help because he just doesn't feel like it. Our hero telling the Hippocratic Oath to cram it whenever convenient. By now, even poor little brainwashed Boone is starting to question just why the hell this hatch is so important. He brings up why opening the hatch is proving so difficult if they were destined to do it. Pretty good question, but as we've seen, anyone who questions Locke must suffer. Listen for the bell, Boone, it tolls for thee. A plane flies overhead, and then this lovely piece of nightmare fuel.
Did you see that? Boom!
Teresa falls up the stairs. Teresa falls down the stairs. Teresa falls up the stairs. Teresa falls down the stairs. Teresa falls up the stairs. Teresa falls down the stairs.
No, please.
Teresa falls up the stairs.
Don't take it back!
Yes, it was all a dream. Not the whole show, sadly, just that last bit. Locke wakes up Boone at the crack of dawn and tells him they need to go, again refusing to explain why. Not wanting to get whacked on the head again, Boone complies. But when Locke actually does explain that they're out here because of a dream, he's finally had enough. Then Locke mentions Teresa, and he's right back to being a perfect little minion. That was a nice little characterization cul-de-sac, wasn't it? Locke and Boone find a body with gold teeth and dressed like a priest.
How long do you think he's been dead?
Normally clothing would completely decompose within 2 years, but this is high quality polyester. Could be 2 years, could be 10.
Any idea how long they've been here?
Long. Takes 40 or 50 years for clothing to degrade like this.
Now that's a quandary, especially when we find out how long both sets of corpses have actually been there. This body has Nigerian money and a gun, which oddly enough will be explained perfectly well in a comparatively short time. Sawyer's still having headaches, which aren't helped by one guy deciding to just whack a piece of metal for no apparent reason. Jack is convinced to take a look and screws with Sawyer's head, including making him talk about sleeping with a prostitute and STDs, when in fact the problem is just myopia. Our hero needlessly embarrassing someone for fun and, well, not profit, so I guess this was just for his own sick pleasure. Locke's legs start to give out again, and this time Boone's really had it with him.
Let me get you back to Jack. No, Jack wouldn't know the first thing about what's wrong with me.
You mean the spinal surgeon? Yeah, why would he have any idea what's wrong? And it's about even odds that he won't make you say you slept with a hooker first. Locke admits the truth, though he doesn't explain why he was in the wheelchair because, well, look what show we're talking about. Boone explains that Teresa was his nanny as a kid who he killed by making her walk up and down the stairs until she broke her neck. What does this have to do with anything, and why did Locke have that dream about it? Never explained. They find the plane right after that, and Locke makes Boone climb up to it. Jack explains to Sawyer that he's farsighted from all the reading he's done. Wouldn't that make him nearsighted? Saeed fuses together 2 glasses to his prescription because, hey, sometimes being the world's biggest badass gets a little dull and you need to develop other skills.
Dude, looks like someone steamrolled Harry Potter.
People seem to love that line, but I just don't get it. What does he mean by steamrolled? Boone finds another body in the plane and then breaks it to Locke that the 2 guys were actually smuggling heroin inside Virgin Mary statues. Locke's brain gets broken again, and for once I agree with him. We can assume the vision was genuine because of the bit about Teresa, so why was he supposed to find this thing? Never explained. Boone tries the plane's radio and hooks up with someone, but before he can say much, the plane is dislodged and falls to the ground. Well, you knew he was in for something big after questioning Locke both in a dream and reality. And there's deliberately another line played over it, but the DVD subtitles confirm that the guy he contacts says that he's one of the survivors of Flight 815. And he sounds nothing like Sam Anderson, but I'll let that go as there's no way they'd be casting the role yet. Locke gets Boone to Jack and says he fell off a cliff. Great, make him sound like an idiot right to the end. And then he disappears. Nice guy.
I've done everything you wanted me to do, so why did you do this to me?
Yes, because it's all about you, isn't it? Screw the guy who's critically injured. Anyway, a light turns on, and apparently that's all he needs to go right back to believing fully in whatever destiny he thinks he has. My score for Deus Ex Machina is 7 out of 10. It's basically plenty more of Locke yammering on about his destiny for no reason we can see, and for once the flashback is at complete odds with the island story. You'd think that if anything, this experience would have completely turned Locke off to the idea of a destiny. It also doesn't help that we're teased so much about how he becomes paralyzed, which will be made even worse when we actually do find out. It turns out that as of this episode, there is nothing that knowing how it actually happened will add to our understanding of the character, and yet we still had to wait 2 more years for the reveal. Still, I always try to judge each episode on its own, and on that basis there's enough things that work in the central mystery of that plane to make it above average.